Are you a pro wrestling fan? Then odds are at some point in your life, you were a backyard wrestler. In this new series, I'm going to take you through how we came from this to this. It's a long story, covering nearly 2 decades. But if you're a nostalgic person missing the backyard days of yesteryear and a simpler time of the 90s and early 2000s, this is the story for you. This is Backyard Wrestling Cinema. Welcome to Backyard Wrestling Cinema, Season 3, Episode 1. On our last season, myself, who wrestled as Denver Street, the lead booker, the guy who was in charge of the show, and Ricky, who wrestled as Rico DMF, whose house is the house we wrestled and did all our shows at, we came to blows. Now, we didn't actually physically fight, but there was a big to-do. I ended up leaving and quitting my own backyard wrestling promotion. And if you know anything about me, it's a pretty serious thing because wrestling for my entire life has been my life. So things got so bad that I just didn't want to be a part of it anymore. Now during this time, there was no shows. TJ Money, who was our world champion, decided he would take up the mantle and try to run shows and put everything together and get everybody involved. However, in those 2 months, we didn't hold any shows. There was no shows, nothing was put together. And to make things even more awkward between myself and Ricky, we actually worked together at KB Toys. So we had to see each other on top of all of this. And basically what we did was we just didn't talk to each other. Now, he was my manager at this job. So literally, I would get to work, I would go to a cash register or whatever, and he would have somebody else tell me what he needed me to do during that day because we would not talk to one another. Once we finally kind of broke the ice, it all started over a broken clipboard, ironically. Ricky, I mean, that's not really true, but that's kind of the joke we've made over the years. Ricky ended up taking my clipboard and throwing it down, which led to me quitting. And one day he came into work and gave me a new clipboard because in his mind, it was just the fact that he had damaged something of mine. But that clipboard cost me $1 and I didn't care about that. It was more the disrespect. And honestly, we had this weird heat brewing that really didn't even need to be there because looking back at it, I don't know that he really did anything wrong. I think it was just me being a 17-year-old kid and taking things the wrong way, or maybe vice versa. So eventually we decided to come back and we were going to just jump straight into the pay-per-view that I had booked months before without really any build-up. Now this is late July 2002, and I'm covering these episodes in the original, like from the original master tapes in order of how they were filmed, at least the master tapes that I still have. And for this episode, little did we know we were about to lose an entire camera on this episode. Now the first thing back was a promo between myself and Rico, and the idea was that if Rico won, he would be the commissioner. Now why did we do that? It was more so to show everybody like, hey, everything between me and Ricky is fine. Me and Ricky always had great matches, and we wanted to show everybody we can get in the ring. You know, we could fake punch and kick and there wouldn't be any, real anger and nobody would start shooting on anybody else. It was going to be back to normal. Then we did a vignette where I attacked him to set up the match for the show. Now, one thing that happens when you wrestle is you kind of form a bond with the people you're wrestling. And like I said, this was to show everybody we moved past everything and it was business as usual here in our backyard wrestling show. Tommy Thunder was scheduled to be the special guest referee for this match, but at the time he was also my tag team partner. Now earlier, like I said, I had attacked Rico and injured his leg. Rico did his entrance and totally forgot to sell his leg injury. And this match was like a throwback to our HWF days, which was the name of our company before B4W. Did a lot of quick movements, really sloppy wrestling, really the HWF style that we had come to love. In the end, I won with another sloppy move, the Texas Cloverleaf, but I kept the move on, which made Tommy Thunder, the special guest referee, get pissed off. Now, I was supposed to lay him out after the match, but I made a mistake here. In trying to lay him out, I used his own move on him, or tried to, which was the pedigree. He called it the lightning bolt. And for whatever reason, he really, like in real life, would get offended if people used his finishers. So right in the middle of it, he just no-sold it and he hit me instead. He reversed the decision of the match, which was the planned thing, and he awarded Rico the victory. However, it kind of left me in the ground doing this awkward thing, and it didn't make sense.
I, the referee, have decided to reverse the decision in Rico's favor. Rico, the winner and the new
Tommy Thunder would defend the Hardcore title up next. He was defending the Hardcore title for the Beast. For whatever reason, the Beast wasn't there that day.
Rico approached me backstage and said since the Beast isn't here, he would give me the privilege of defending his Hardcore belt tonight. as, help as an appreciation gift for helping him out during the match.
And he was defending it against Mumbles.
Hits the floor, faster than a pancake out of college. Oh! Backslide, no! Oh, big time clothesline by Tommy Thunder.
In the end, Mumbles would win the hardcore title, which obviously would annoy the Beast when he came back, because he lost the title without ever defending it.
You heard it here, folks. Mumbles slipping, pulling, slipping and sliding all the way up the hill. And that was a joke. Oh!
Doesn't find it very funny.
Concussing that cranium like a pineapple on a sunny day. This Tommy Thunder's pulling Mumbles up. What are they gonna go for, folks?
Yeah.
Oh, please.
Tommy Thunder up.
Oh!
Mumbles refusing to go. Go up.
Oh!
Back
Body drop on the canoe. And look at you.
Hey, you got leverage.
And your winner, AJ Mumbles. It's all good in the hood for Mumbles. He's got party in Mardi Gras.
Slug, who had been one of the original 4 members with myself and Tommy Thunder, did a promo with Homeboy Joe Slice, and they acknowledge it's Homeboy's first match back, which is true. Up until then, he had just done run-ins, pretty much.
What's going on, man? A little nervous? First match back. Got the butterflies. Floating around. I'm good, man.
Which really made me feel bad because Homeboy had come back with this big, comeback, and then we just took 2 months off because there was a big fight and blowout. Mr. Benjamins would defend the U.S. title against Homeboy, and it was a great back and forth match. And honestly, we didn't have high expectations for it at the time, because Mr. Benjamins legitimately didn't watch wrestling when he first started wrestling with us. By this point in the summer, he had really become like a student of the game and was really studying wrestling and was really improving, at least for our standards back then. And add to that Homeboy had been gone for months after having, double knee surgery, unrelated to wrestling, but still needed to have knee surgery.
Ain't not. Benson! Oh my God! That's
At one point, the camera stopped recording on us.
Oh! The city sent on hold! Oh yeah! He's up top! Right there.
Ready? Go. Now we go. Oh, Mr. Benjamin just missed.
So we had to restart, thinking it was like a tape issue. Turns out the camera was just dying, as we would soon find out. In the end, the world champion, TJ Money, would come out and assist Mr. Benjamins, his tag team partner.
Uh-oh. Oh, he got that chair!
Oh boy!
Oh my God! He just took off Mr. Benjamin's head!
Oh my God!
TJ Money
That's
coming
Mr.
out!
Benjamin's partner, the world champion.
Getting revenge for those chair shots nearly one pay-per-view ago.
And repercussion.
It's called the Lesnar.
The Lesnar?
Oh my God, he nailed the Lesnar! That man is unconscious. Call, find out.
Uh-oh.
The call for it.
420. If they hit...
Oh, nearly
my
420
God.
through the tables. The ribs, the head, and the knees of Homeboy are all
1, 2, 3.
And
Mr. Benjamin.
Mr. Benjamin.
And this was payback for the brutal 3 shots that Homeboy had done on TJ Money a few months earlier. We did a new style of vignette, the hardcore title featuring Slug and Mumbles, who was the new hardcore champion. It was to make the title this 24/7 thing that, was kind of popular prior years in WWF, and to break up the monotony of just seeing the backyard ring.
I had to come out front to get away from the smell of the slug.
And here I am. Get down by Mumbles, Bailey.
Unbelievable. Slug now. Slug.
Oh, he could have injured the kidneys and other things of that sort.
Well, it's this. Oh, I found the zoom button.
Once again during this, we thought we had tape issues, but, as we'll soon find out, the camera was just going to break. In the end, Mumbles retained the title. We filmed more vignettes and started making Slug into like this lackey kind of character, which is something he really excelled at. And at this point, it was clear that the camera was dead. The main event was up next, and we had to borrow a camera from Ricky's neighbor to film it. And this was a guy who actually wrestled as the Bus. We actually talked to his parents, and they were able to let us use a camera so we could film the main event of our big pay-per-view. The only problem was we couldn't figure out how to remove the date and time on the camera, so it has this timestamp on it, which drove me insane. To this day, it drives me insane. Now, it was Cobain challenging for the world title as he took on the champion TJ Money. Homeboy Joe Slice was added as a special guest referee earlier in a vignette with the caveat that if he messed up the match, he was fired. The match featured a lot of garbage-picked weapons, makeshift tables, including a garbage-picked sheetrock and chair set. We always use sheetrock for tables because they were guaranteed to break. They used a garbage-picked poker table, amongst other things.
Oh, he hit his head!
Thank God. Cobain, where'd you go?
Oh my God! Breaking all 3.5 legs of that table.
In the end, TJ Money accidentally kicked Homeboy Joe Slice, the special guest referee, and then Homeboy Joe Slice accidentally hit Cobain, but had to count the pin or be fired. Complete ripoff of SummerSlam 1997, and TJ Money retained the title.
He was going for TJ Money and he missed! Boy!
Oh, Homeboy has to count it. 2,
Count it!
3.
Oh my God, Homeboy!
We also filmed a battle royal that day, which never aired, and I didn't even know this existed until a couple months ago, when Rico gave me a bag of tapes that he found at his house. We even said so while we were filming it, that there was no way this was gonna make air. It was literally just for fun. It was a way for everybody to just be able to let loose and get beyond the drama that occurred earlier that summer. We wanted big things to happen for B4W, and I get it, we're just a backyard wrestling show. But we were a bunch of kids who just wanted to do this for as long as we could and make it as far as we could. We didn't know what our limits were, and we didn't know where the bar was. So we just pushed and pushed. And we continued heading towards the same 3 goals that I set when we first started. To get a real ring, to do a live show, and to be on TV. We were already on TV. Now we were laser focused on making those other 2 happen.